Zach, Jeremy, Molly, Jacob, and Justin. A bombshell court filing has just revealed that there is a fifth Roloff sibling, and the reality TV world will never be the same. A man has come forward with a DNA test that allegedly proves a 99.9% match to Matt Roloff. For 35 years, this secret was buried deep in the darkest corners of Matt's past. But when Matt tried to buy his silence, the deal went south. Now, the secret son wants his cut of the farm, and he is coming for everything. How will Amy react to knowing Matt had a child he hid from her for their entire marriage? And what does this mean for the sale of the property that has already torn this family apart? We are looking at the end of the Roloff legacy as we know it. But before we dive deep into the legal documents, the leaked DNA results, and the shocking confrontation at the farm gates, I need you to do me a massive favor. If you love staying up to date with the real truth behind Little People, Big World, the stories the network doesn't want you to see, please hit that like button right now. It helps us expose the truth. And if you haven't already, subscribe to LPBW Update and turn on all notifications. We have insiders working around the clock to bring you these exclusive theories and reports, and you do not want to miss what is coming next. Trust me, the FBI raid rumor we discuss later is going to blow your mind. Now, let's get into the nightmare that has just landed on Matt Roloff's doorstep. For years, we have watched the tension destroy the relationship between Matt and his twin boys, Zach and Jeremy. We thought the biggest scandal in Roloff history was the negotiation for the north side of the farm. We thought it was Caryn Chandler influencing Matt to sell the property rather than keep it in the family. We were wrong. Those problems are microscopic compared to the atomic bomb that is Justin. According to exclusive insider theories and reports circulating through the Oregon legal system, a 35-year-old man has filed a paternity suit. Let's look at the math. 35 years ago. That places the conception of this child squarely in the timeline before Matt and Amy's marriage, or potentially during the very early rocky stages of their relationship, depending on the exact birth month. This isn't just a random fan making a claim. This is a man who allegedly looks exactly like Matt, possessing the same facial features, but standing taller. He has lived in the shadows for over 3 decades, watching his biological father build an empire on television, watching his half-siblings grow up with everything he never had. Sources suggest that for a long time, Justin was content to stay away. He didn't want fame. He didn't want the cameras. But something changed 6 months ago. As the farm drama heated up and as Matt began liquidating assets and talking about his estate, Justin realized that he was being written out of history. He wasn't just being ignored, he was being erased. We have received information detailing a secret meeting that took place roughly 6 months ago. This wasn't at the farm. It wasn't at a public restaurant. It was a clandestine meeting at a roadside motel halfway between Hillsborough and Portland. Matt Roloff arrived alone. He was terrified. He knew that if this news got out, it wouldn't just ruin his reputation, it would destroy the brand. It would vindicate everything Amy has ever said about him being manipulative and secretive. Justin didn't come to that meeting to hug his long-lost father. He came for answers, and he came for compensation. He looked Matt in the eye and told him he knew the truth. He told him about his mother, a woman from Matt's past who had been paid to keep quiet decades ago. But NDAs expire, and money runs out. Justin made it clear, acknowledge me, or I go to the press. Matt Roloff, always the businessman, always the negotiator, went into damage control mode. He didn't offer love, he offered a check. Reports indicate that Matt proposed a hush money deal. He offered Justin a lump sum of $500,000, $500,000 to sign a strict non-disclosure agreement, change his number, and disappear forever. For Matt, this was a business expense, a line item. To him, preserving the image of the wholesome Roloff grandfather was worth 500 grand. Justin, perhaps needing the money or perhaps just wanting to close this painful chapter, initially agreed to consider the offer. Matt thought he had won. He thought he had bought his way out of a scandal yet again. He went back to the farm, likely relieved, believing the Justin problem was solved. He prepared the wire transfer. He moved funds around. He was ready to send the cash and bury the secret for another 35 years. But he forgot one crucial variable in his life, the variable that has been controlling his decisions for years: Caryn Chandler. This is where the story takes a turn that proves who is really running the show at Roloff Farms. According to insiders close to the family's financial dealings, Caryn discovered the pending wire transfer. $500,000 is not a small amount of money to move without raising flags. When she confronted Matt about the withdrawal, he crumbled. He had to tell her the truth. He had to confess that he had an illegitimate son who was threatening to blow up their world. Most partners would be shocked. Most would be devastated by the betrayal of a secret kept for so long. But Caryn saw red, not because of the infidelity, that was ancient history, but because of the money. $500,000 leaving their retirement fund, $500,000 going to a stranger instead of into the new house they are building. She allegedly flipped out. Sources indicate Caryn blocked the payment. She told Matt absolutely not. She argued that paying him would only be an admission of guilt. She told Matt, "Oh, we can't afford that. Just deny it. If he goes public, we will call him a liar. We have better lawyers. We have the media machine. Do not send that money." It was a gamble, a massive, greedy gamble. Caryn believed that Justin was bluffing. She believed that a regular guy with no resources wouldn't dare go up against the Roloff machine. She thought they could bully him into silence without spending a dime. She convinced Matt that the $500,000 was better spent on their lifestyle, on their trips to Arizona, on their future. Matt, weak to her influence as always, listened. He canceled the transfer. He ghosted Justin. Imagine being Justin. You finally work up the courage to confront the father who abandoned you. He offers you a settlement. You are ready to take it and walk away. And then silence. The money never comes. The phone calls aren't returned. You realize that not only does your father not want you, but he thinks he can play you. He thinks you are powerless. That was the moment the war began. That was the moment Justin decided that $500,000 wasn't enough anymore. It wasn't about the money. It was about the disrespect. It was about Caryn Chandler intervening in a blood matter between a father and son. Denied the hush money, Justin didn't just get mad. He got strategic. He realized that without proof, he was just another person with a story. He needed hard evidence. He needed science. This leads us into the most investigative part of this saga, the DNA test. But Justin couldn't just ask Matt for a swab. Matt was ghosting him. Matt was hiding behind the gates of the farm, protected by Caryn. So Justin had to get creative. He had to use tactics straight out of a private investigator's handbook. We are hearing reports that Justin stalked Matt's movements for weeks. He knew Matt's routine. He knew where he stopped for coffee. He knew where he went for business meetings. The opportunity finally presented itself at a Starbucks in Hillsboro. Matt was there meeting with a contractor. He drank a venti dark roast. He finished the cup, crumpled it, and left it on the table as he rolled out to his car. This was the golden ticket. Justin, watching from a nearby table, swooped in. He grabbed the cup before the barista could clear it. That discarded coffee cup held the genetic code of the Roloff dynasty. It held the saliva of Matt Roloff. It was the key to the kingdom. Justin took that cup to an accredited genetic testing lab. He paid for the expedited service. He needed to know specifically if the man on TV was biologically his father. The wait must have been agonizing. The fear that maybe, just maybe, his mother had lied to him. But then the envelope arrived. The results were in black and white. The probability of paternity, 99.9%. There was no margin for error. The lab report confirmed the biological link. Justin has the Roloff genes. He is Matt's flesh and blood. He is as much a Roloff as Zach, Jeremy, Molly, or Jacob. And under the law, that piece of paper is more powerful than any contract, any deed, or any reality TV show contract. With the DNA results in hand, Justin didn't go back to Matt for the $500,000. The price had gone up. He went to a lawyer, and not just any lawyer, a shark who specializes in high-profile estate disputes. They filed the paternity suit in Oregon court, putting the information on public record. This is why the story is leaking now. You can try to hide a private meeting, but you cannot hide a court filing. The immediate fallout of this filing is catastrophic. Think about the timing. Matt and Caryn are trying to plan their future. The farm is in a state of flux. The relationship between Zach and Tori is non-existent. And now, this. The existence of a fifth child throws the entire inheritance plan into absolute chaos. Let's break down the legal threat. Under Oregon law, a biological child, even an illegitimate one born out of wedlock, has specific rights to an estate if they are not specifically and explicitly disinherited in a valid will. Matt's current will likely lists his 4 known children, Zach, Jeremy, Molly, and Jacob. It likely says something along the lines of, "My estate is to be divided among my children." If the will doesn't say, "My children born of my marriage to Amy," then Justin is legally included in that definition. Even if Matt tries to rewrite the will now, Justin's lawyer is arguing that he was defrauded of a relationship and support for 35 years. They are coming for back child support, they are coming for emotional damages, and most importantly, they are coming for a share of the land. When the news hit the rest of the family, the explosion was instantaneous. You might think Zach and Jeremy would be angry at this stranger trying to take their land, but reports say their anger is directed entirely at one person, Matt. For Zach, this is the ultimate validation of everything he has felt. He has always felt that Matt prioritizes business and money over family. But to learn that Matt had a secret son, to learn that while Matt was preaching family values on television for 20 seasons, he was hiding a skeleton of this magnitude, it destroys any remaining shred of respect Zach had for his father. And for Jeremy, who has been obsessed with the idea of legacy in the farm's lineage, is reportedly spiraling. This shatters the purity of the Roloff line he held so dear. It means his father is a liar. But the person who this hurts the most, the person who is the true victim in this twisted narrative, is Amy. Think about it. 35 years, this means the betrayal happened right at the beginning of their life together. It means that every time Matt looked Amy in the eye and said, "I love you," he was holding back a secret that could destroy them. It means the entire foundation of their marriage, the family they built, the show they created, was built on a lie. Amy Roloff has moved on. She is happy with Chris. She has found peace. But this drags her right back into the trauma. However, Amy isn't the same woman she was 10 years ago. She isn't the woman who let Matt steamroll over her. The Amy of today is strong. She is independent. And when she heard the news, her reaction was not what anyone expected. Matt thought she would crumble. Caryn thought she would attack. But Amy got curious. This brings us to the edge of the confrontation that is about to change everything. Justin, armed with his DNA results and his lawyer's advice, didn't just wait for the court date. He wanted to see the land that was rightfully partially his. He drove to the farm. He pulled up to those famous gates that we have seen in the opening credits for years. He wasn't there to break in. He was there to ring the bell. Matt saw him on the security cameras. Inside the big house, panic set in. Caryn reportedly shouted for Matt to call the police, to treat him like a trespasser. She wanted him arrested. She wanted to use their power to crush him. Matt was paralyzed, hiding in his office, refusing to go out. But someone else was on the property that day. Someone who saw the car at the gate and didn't recognize it. Amy was stopping by to pick up some old items from storage, a routine visit. She saw the man at the gate. She saw the resemblance. It's undeniable. The eyes, the build, the mannerisms. It was like looking at a ghost of Matt from the late 80s. Amy rolled down her window. She asked him who he was, and Justin, with the DNA test in his hand, told her the truth. I'm Matt's son. At that moment, Amy held all the cards. She could have screamed. She could have told him to get lost. She could have blamed him for her ex-husband's sins. But Amy looked at this man, a man who had been rejected by his father, a man who had been offered money to disappear, and she made a decision that will go down in history. She didn't call the cops. She didn't call Matt. She looked at the security camera, knowing Matt was watching, and she unlocked the gate. She invited the secret son onto the property. The metal gates of Roloff Farms swung open, but it wasn't Matt pressing the button. It was Amy. In a move that has shocked insiders and redefined the power dynamics of this family feud, the matriarch of the family welcomed the secret son onto the property. Sources inside the main house described the scene as absolute pandemonium. Matt was reportedly pacing the floor of his office, his face pale, watching the monitors as his ex-wife's SUV led the stranger's car up the long driveway. Caryn was allegedly furious, screaming that this was a setup, that Amy was doing this on purpose to humiliate them. And she was right. But it wasn't just about humiliation, it was about integrity. Amy didn't take Justin to the big house immediately. She took him to the area near the pumpkin patch, a neutral ground. Witnesses say she got out of her car and shook his hand. It wasn't a warm, motherly hug. She's not his mother, but it was a gesture of basic human respect, something Matt had failed to offer him for 35 years. She reportedly told him, "If you are family, then you are family. We don't hide people in this family. At least, I don't." With that one sentence, Amy seized the moral high ground. She stripped Matt of his power. By inviting Justin in, she validated his existence. She transformed him from a dirty little secret into a guest. Inside the house, the walls were closing in on Matt. He had two choices. He could lock the doors and call the authorities, creating a scene that would inevitably end up on TMZ, or he could go out there and face the music. Caryn, realizing the optics were spiraling out of control, reportedly tried to stop him. She knows that once Matt acknowledges Justin in front of witnesses, the legal case becomes infinitely stronger. But Matt knew the game was up. He couldn't hide behind the curtains while Amy played the hero. Matt Roloff stepped out onto the porch. The tension was thick enough to cut with a knife. You had the father, the secret son, and the ex-wife standing in a triangle of betrayal. Justin didn't scream. He didn't make a scene. He simply looked at Matt and said, "We need to talk. No lawyers, no girlfriends, just us." It was a power move. By excluding Caryn, Justin signaled that he knew exactly who was pulling the strings regarding the hush money. He knew Caryn was the one who blocked the payout. Matt, looking defeated and smaller than ever, agreed. They sat on a bench near the farmhouse, the very same bench where Matt has filmed countless scenes discussing family legacy. The irony is nauseating. For decades, Matt has preached about building a legacy for his kids, all while actively ignoring one of them. While the conversation between Matt and Justin remains private, leaks suggest it didn't end with a hug. It ended with an ultimatum. Justin made it clear he doesn't want a fatherly relationship anymore. That ship sailed when the check was canceled. He wants what is legally his. He wants his birthright. And this brings us to the crisis that is currently tearing the siblings apart. The moment the meeting ended, the fallout began. The news traveled fast. Zach and Jeremy didn't hear about this from Matt. They heard about it from Amy. Imagine receiving that phone call. You are a grown man with children of your own, thinking you know your family history, and suddenly your mother tells you that you have an older brother, a brother your father hid from everyone. The reaction from the Roloff children has been a mix of devastation and rage. Zach, who has already distanced himself from the farm and his father, was reportedly vindicated but heartbroken. For Zach, this explains so much of Matt's behavior. It explains the secrecy, the hoarding of money, the erratic decision-making. Zach has always felt that Matt treats his children like employees or chess pieces rather than human beings. This secret confirms it. If Matt could discard a biological child for 35 years, what stopped him from discarding Zach when he became inconvenient? It reinforces Zach's decision to move to Battleground and cut ties. He is furious, not at Justin, but at the deception. Jeremy's reaction, however, is far more volatile. Jeremy has built his entire identity around the Roloff name. He wrote books about marriage, about honesty, about intentional living. He values the lineage of the farm more than anyone. To find out that the lineage is tainted by a lie of this magnitude, it has sent him into a spiral. Sources close to Jeremy say he feels like his entire childhood was a performance. He is asking the hard questions. Did Amy know back then? Was this why the marriage really struggled in the early years? But the anger is primarily directed at the financial implications. Jeremy has been trying to buy the farm or find a way to inherit it for years. He thought he was competing against Zach. He thought he was competing against the market. He never dreamed he was competing against a ghost. And this is where we get into the nitty-gritty of the estate crisis. This is the part that keeps Caryn up at night. This is the part that destroys the bank accounts. We are talking about dividing by 5. Under Oregon probate law, if Matt Roloff were to pass away tomorrow without an updated, airtight will that specifically names and excludes Justin, the estate would be divided equally among his biological heirs. Until now, that pie was cut into 4 slices: Zach, Jeremy, Molly, and Jacob, 25% each. But with Justin in the picture, proving paternity with a 99.9% DNA match, the math changes instantly. The pie is now cut into 5 slices. That drops everyone's share to 20%. That might not sound like a huge difference on paper, but when you are talking about an estate valued at millions of dollars, including the pumpkin patch, the rental properties, the equipment, and the remaining land, that is a massive loss of wealth for the existing kids. We are talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars stripped from Zach, Jeremy, Molly, and Jacob's potential inheritance. But it gets worse. Justin isn't waiting for Matt to die to get his share. His legal team is aggressive. They are arguing that because Matt committed fraud by hiding his existence and denying paternity, Justin is entitled to retroactive compensation. They are talking about 35 years of back child support, plus interest, plus emotional damages. In the state of Oregon, while statute of limitations can be tricky, the fraud element opens up loopholes that Matt's expensive lawyers are scrambling to close. The immediate threat, however, isn't the will. It is the land itself. We have received exclusive intelligence that Justin's lawyers have filed a lis pendens, a notice of pending action, against the Roloff farm's property titles. This is a nuclear legal move. A lis pendens effectively freezes the property. It warns any potential buyer that the land is subject to a lawsuit. Think about what this means for Matt and Caryn's retirement plan. They have been trying to sell the big house. They have been trying to liquidate assets to fund their new dream home in Arizona and the new build on the farm. But with a lis pendens attached to the deed, no title company will insure the sale. No bank will issue a mortgage to a buyer. Matt is stuck. He cannot sell. He cannot refinance. He is asset rich but cash poor, and his biggest asset is now held hostage by the son he tried to pay off. Caryn is reportedly losing her mind. Her entire strategy was based on the liquid value of that farm. She wanted the cash to travel, to retire in luxury, to leave the drama of the pumpkin season behind. Now, that money is locked up in a legal battle that could drag on for years. And every day that lawsuit continues, Matt is bleeding legal fees. Justin doesn't have much to lose. He's used to living without the Roloff money. But Matt has everything to lose. The kids know this too. The prospect of the farm being sold to a stranger was bad enough. But the prospect of the farm being tied up in court for a decade, slowly draining the family's wealth until there is nothing left for anyone, that is the nightmare scenario. Zach and Jeremy are realizing that their father's past sins are bankrupting their future. There is also the Molly and Jacob factor. We rarely hear from them, but insiders say they are disgusted. Molly, who lives a quiet professional life, is reportedly horrified by the messiness of it all. She wants nothing to do with the scandal. Jacob, who has been vocal about his issues with the show and the exploitation of his childhood, sees this as the final nail in the coffin. To him, this proves that the wholesome family farm image was always a sham. He is reportedly the only one who has reached out to Justin privately, not to talk about money, but to compare notes on Matt's manipulation. As the sun set on that fateful day at the farm, the dynamic had shifted permanently. Justin left the property, but he didn't leave empty-handed. He left with the knowledge that Amy is not his enemy. He left knowing that the siblings are divided, and he left having looked his father in the eye and seen the fear. The next morning, the legal letters started flying. Matt's lawyers sent a cease and desist to Justin, trying to gag him from speaking to the press. But it was too late. The story was out. Justin's team countered with the paternity suit filing, making it public record. Now, Matt is trapped in a corner. He is facing a war on three fronts. On one front, he has a legal battle with Justin, which threatens his fortune. On the second front, he has the emotional battle with his 4 other children who feel betrayed and cheated. And on the third front, he has Caryn, whose patience is wearing thin. Caryn didn't sign up for an impoverished scandal. She signed up for a comfortable retirement. If the money dries up, will she stick around? That is the question everyone is asking. And what about Amy? Amy is currently the most powerful player on the board. By accepting Justin, she has insulated herself from the criticism. She looks like the saint who is willing to forgive the sins of the father for the sake of the child. It is a brilliant PR move, but it is also genuine. Amy knows what it's like to be marginalized by Matt. She sees a kindred spirit in Justin. Rumors are swirling that Amy might even offer to testify on Justin's behalf regarding Matt's character and his history of financial secrecy during their marriage. If Amy takes a stand against Matt in a paternity and estate trial, it will be the most watched court case in reality TV history. The estate crisis is not just about money, it is about identity. For years, the Roloffs were the little people, big world. They were a unit. Now, they are a fractured collection of individuals fighting over a shrinking pile of assets. The farm, once the symbol of their unity, has become the battlefield of their destruction. As we move toward the final act of this tragedy, the question remains, can Matt fix this? Is there a check big enough to make this go away now that the secret is out? Probably not. The $500,000 offer was an insult. The price of silence has skyrocketed. But Justin doesn't seem to want silence anymore. He wants justice. And in the Roloff family, justice is a very expensive commodity. Matt is scrambling to find a loophole. He is looking into trusts, LLCs, anything to shield the assets from Justin. But Oregon judges do not look kindly on fathers who hide assets from biological children. If Matt tries to move money now, it will be seen as fraudulent conveyance. He is paralyzed. And amidst all this legal chaos, a darker rumor is emerging. We mentioned the FBI earlier. This paternity suit has seemingly triggered a deeper audit into the Roloff finances. When you start digging into where the hush money was coming from, you start finding other irregularities. Was Matt using charity funds to try and pay off his secret son? That is the accusation that is starting to whisper through the rumor mill. If that turns out to be true, we aren't just talking about civil court. We are talking about criminal charges. The drama is escalating by the hour. The farm is under siege, not from fans, but from lawyers. The family is in ruins. And Justin is just getting started. He has waited 35 years for this moment, and he is not going to let Matt Roloff off the hook. The sun is set on the Roloff empire as we once knew it. With the paternity suit filed, the DNA results public, and the farm legally frozen by Alyssa Pendens, Matt Roloff is no longer fighting for his reputation. He is fighting for his freedom. We are now moving into the darkest chapter of this saga, a chapter that involves federal agencies, forensic accountants, and the potential collapse of everything Matt has built over the last 30 years. If you thought the family drama was bad, wait until you hear about the money trail. We dropped a bombshell hint earlier about the FBI, and now we can elaborate on those exclusive, terrifying reports coming out of Oregon. Remember the $500,000 Matt tried to wire to Justin as hush money? The payment that Caryn allegedly blocked? Well, the question no one asked at the time was, where was that cash coming from? Matt Roloff is land rich, but he has frequently complained about being cash poor. He doesn't just have $500,000 sitting in a checking account ready to be wired to a blackmailer. According to insider theories and leaked financial documents that have surfaced on the dark web, that money wasn't coming from Matt's personal savings. It wasn't coming from the farm's operating budget. Sources suggest the attempted wire transfer was flagged because it originated from an account linked to a charitable organization associated with the family. This is the nuclear scenario. If Matt attempted to use nonprofit funds to settle a personal paternity dispute, that is not just unethical. That is wire fraud and embezzlement. This brings us to the shocking event that reportedly took place just 48 hours ago. Neighbors near the Helvetia property reported seeing unmarked SUVs entering the farm gates. These weren't production crews. These weren't tourists. These were federal agents. We are hearing reports that the FBI has executed a search warrant on the Roloff Farms business office. They weren't there for the pumpkins. They were there for the hard drives. They were there for the financial ledgers. The paternity suit filed by Justin didn't just expose a secret son. It triggered a forensic audit of Matt's entire life. Justin's lawyers demanded proof of assets to calculate child support and inheritance shares. When they started digging into the bank accounts to see how much Matt was actually worth, they found the irregularities, they found the attempted transfer. And being legally obligated to report suspicious activity, the dominoes started to fall. Imagine the scene. Matt Roloff, the man who likes to be in control of every single detail, watching helplessly as agents seize his computers. Caryn Chandler, who has always prided herself on managing the farm's business side, was reportedly hysterical. If she knew about the source of the funds, and remember, she was the farm manager for years, she could be implicated as an accessory. The greed that led her to block the payment might end up being the very thing that sends them both to prison. The reaction from the rest of the family to this raid has been absolute silence, which speaks volumes. Usually, if a family member is attacked, the clan circles the wagons. But not this time. Zach and Tori have not posted a single thing in support of Matt. In fact, Sources say Zach is relieved he moved to Washington. He is safely out of the blast radius. He has no financial ties to the farm anymore. He is watching the burning building from a safe distance, hugging his kids, thankful he didn't buy the farm when he had the chance. If he had bought it, he might have inherited this legal nightmare. Jeremy, however, is in a panic. He has business ties that overlap with the Roloff brand. He is reportedly consulting with his own legal team to ensure that his assets are completely decoupled from Matt's estate. The brand is toxic. The name Roloff, which used to mean wholesome family values, is now synonymous with scandal and fraud. But what about Justin, the man who started it all? He isn't celebrating the raid. He isn't happy about the potential criminal charges. He just wanted his fair share. However, the raid puts him in a unique position of power. With the government freezing the accounts, Matt is technically insolvent. He cannot pay his lawyers. He cannot pay the mortgage on the new build. He is drowning. Justin has reportedly made a new offer, a settlement that would end the Civil War, even if the criminal investigation continues. Justin doesn't want cash anymore because there is no cash left. He wants equity. He wants his name on the deed. He wants to be a partial owner of Roloff Farms. This is the ultimate twist. The son who was hidden away, the son who was rejected, is poised to become the savior of the property. If Matt signs over a percentage of the land to Justin to satisfy the paternity claim, the Los Pendens get dropped. The civil suit goes away. It doesn't stop the FBI, but it saves the land from being auctioned off by the state to pay legal debts. Matt is trapped. He has to choose between losing the farm to the government or sharing the farm with the son he despises. It is a Shakespearean tragedy. The king must give up his crown to the bastard son to save the kingdom. We are hearing that a secret signing ceremony is being scheduled. No cameras, no TLC crew, just lawyers. Matt will likely have to sign over a 20% stake in the Roloff Farms LLC to Justin. This means that next pumpkin season, when you drive up to the farm, the man greeting you at the gate might not be Matt. It might be Justin. He will be a partner. He will have a vote. He will have a say in whether the big house gets sold or whether they keep it. This shift in power completely neutralizes Caryn. Caryn wanted the money from the sale. She wanted to cash out. But if Justin owns 20%, he can block the sale. He can force them to keep the land in the family. Justin, ironically, might be the one to save the legacy that Jeremy and Zach abandoned. He has no bad blood with the land, only with the man. He sees the value in the soil. So where does this leave Caryn Chandler? The writing is on the wall. Insider reports from Arizona suggest that Caryn has been looking at properties solo, not with Matt, alone. She sees the ship sinking. She sees the bank accounts frozen. She sees the potential jail time looming over Matt. Caryn is a survivor. She looked out for herself when she worked at the farm, and she is looking out for herself now. If Matt loses his fortune to Justin and the legal fees, he is of no use to her. We predict a breakup announcement within the next 3 months, citing the stress of the litigation. She will bail before the handcuffs click. And Amy, the queen of the farm, she is sitting pretty. She has her own money. She has her own life. She has the moral victory. By accepting Justin, she has gained a new ally. If Justin takes over a portion of the farm, Amy will likely be welcomed back onto the property anytime she wants. The big house that she was forced to leave might end up under the management of a man who respects her more than her ex-husband ever did. It is the ultimate revenge. She didn't have to lift a finger. She just had to wait for the truth to come out. The future of Little People, Big World is effectively over. TLC cannot film a show where the main subject is under federal investigation for charity fraud. The production crews have reportedly packed up. The cameras are gone. The reality show is ending, but the reality is just beginning. Justin is now the new heir. He is the one holding the keys. He is the one with the Roloff DNA in the clean slate. He has no history of feuds with Zach or Jeremy. He is a blank canvas. There is even talk that Zach and Jeremy might be willing to work with Justin in a way they never could with Matt. Could we see a future where the three brothers, Zach, Jeremy, and Justin, run the farm together, pushing Matt out completely? It is a distinct possibility. The secret son might be the glue that puts the broken pieces of this family back together by uniting them against a common enemy, their father's lies. As we look at the drone footage of the farm today, it looks peaceful. The pumpkins are growing, the sun is shining, but inside that office, the shredders are jammed, the lawyers are screaming, and Matt Roloff is realizing that his time is up. He thought he could buy silence. He thought he could control the narrative, but DNA doesn't lie, and neither do bank records. We are witnessing the fall of a reality TV titan. Matt Roloff flew too close to the sun. He sacrificed his relationship with his sons for money, and now he is losing the money to the son he sacrificed. Poetic justice has never tasted so bitter. Now, I know you have a million questions. Is the FBI raid confirmed? What exactly is on those hard drives? And did Caryn really put a down payment on a condo in Scottsdale under her maiden name yesterday? I have the answers. My team has obtained leaked screenshots of the charity's financial logs. We have the flight records showing Caryn's trip to Arizona. We have the footage of the agents walking out of the farmhouse with boxes of evidence. But I cannot show them to you in this video due to YouTube's sensitive content policies. I am compiling all of the visual evidence, the documents, the photos, the flight paths, into a massive expose video that will drop in exactly 48 hours. You do not want to miss this. This will be the video that gets the show canceled forever. So here is what you need to do. Matt thought he could hide the past, but the truth always finds a way. Do you think Justin deserves a piece of the farm, or should he leave the family alone? And do you think Caryn will stick by Matt if he goes broke and faces prison? Let me know in the comments below. Subscribe now, hit that bell icon, and select all notifications. If you don't, you will miss the notification when the FBI evidence video goes live. And by the time you find it, it might be taken down. The Roloff legal team is trying to scrub the internet, but we are faster. Join the LPBW update army. We are the only ones telling you the truth. Stay tuned. The raid was just the beginning. The arrests are coming next.